Hello everyone, this is Miss Hanley. This is notes number 3 that correspond with assignment 3, which is called Let the Music Play. And this is for the Algebra 2 Unit 2 unit on systems of equations. You should have this notes page in your packet already. If not, print it off Schoology and please follow along. So right now we're going to look at converting from point slope form into slope intercept form, and then we would also have to, in this case, take it one step further into standard form. So you actually have 3 different conversions that you're doing here. The slope intercept to standard form you would just practice on a previous worksheet. So first of all, let's talk about what point slope form is. And that one is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And x1 and y1, that is a point that you would be given, and m is still your slope there. Okay, so that's the formula that we want to start with. And this formula works really well when you're given a point and a slope, aka point slope form, or also if you're given 2 points. Okay, so we're going to take this from point slope form into slope intercept form, which is your y equals mx plus b that we have been discussing. All right. Oops, sorry. Mx plus b, make that legible there. So we're going to start with 2 examples, one given a point and a slope, and the next one we are given 2 points. So I'm going to pick 2 off of your worksheet here. The first one we're going to give a point and a slope. So let's say the point -3, -2, and a slope m is equal to 3, and this is number 2 of your assignment. So when you're given a point and a slope, the first thing you want to do is substitute into your point-slope equation. So let's go ahead and do that. We're starting with y minus, my y1 value here is going to be -2. That's going to be equal to m, which is 3, times x minus, and x1 over here is -3. Okay, so let's think back to Algebra 1. When you have a double negative, like you do right here, and right here as well, 2 negatives, remember, make a positive. So we can simplify our equation to y plus 2 is equal to 3 times x plus 3. So right now you've made the equation of a line, but that is in point slope form, and we need to take it into slope intercept form. So let's continue to do that on to the next page here. Okay, so I've transferred the equation. Y plus 2 equals 3 times x plus 3. And we know that we want to end up at y equals mx plus b. So that means that on this left-hand side, we need to only have a y here. And we shouldn't have any parentheses if we're dealing with slope-intercept form. So the way I want to get rid of my parentheses is by distributing. So anything outside of the parentheses gets multiplied by both components inside the parentheses. So now we're going to have y plus 2 is equal to 3x plus 9, so I'm multiplying. And then we want to solve for y. I want y to be isolated, so I get y equals mx plus b. So what I need to do there is take away 2, and since 2 is a constant, I'm going to line it up with the constant on the right-hand side. So 2 and -2 cancel, and we're left with y equals 3x, and then 9 minus 2 would give us positive 7. So there we have our slope-intercept form. 3 is our slope, as we knew from point-slope form, but now we can clearly identify our y-intercept of 7. So we have y equals 3x plus 7. that is slope intercept form. Okay, but now let's see what happens when we want to take it into standard form, right? So remember, the standard form is ax plus by is equal to c. And right now we have y equals 3x plus 7, right? So if you recall from the previous video, if we have y equals 3x plus 7, we need to move the ax to the left. So I'm going to take away 3x from both sides so that I have negative 3x plus y is equal to 7. Now we're almost done. We just have to check our two rules. The first rule is that a has to be positive, and since we have a negative 3 right there, we need to fix that. So I'm multiplying through by negative 1, and that will give me positive 3x minus y is equal to negative 7. The second rule we need to check for is that there are no fractions. And lucky for us, there are no fractions to deal with. So 3x minus y equals negative 7. That is our standard form equation. And our a value now would be the number in front of x, so 3. B is going to be negative 1, and c is going to be negative 7. And on your worksheet there, you can then go and match up the standard form equation with the one that you just created. On that worksheet, they do tend to leave a as a negative value, which is okay. It's not really going to hurt you, but technically standard form would have a positive a value, so just be aware of that when you're looking at those situations. So the other thing we want to be able to work from is how to create the equation of a line if I'm given just 2 points. So you know how to do it if you're given a point and a slope. You know how to do it if you're given a y-intercept and a slope. But what if, like in number 3, we are given 2 points, negative 1, and negative 4, negative 7. Okay, so if we are going to use point-slope form, we need a slope. And so we have to calculate that. And in order to do that from 2 points, you need your slope formula. So if you recall, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. In this case, we have a x1, y1, x2, y2. If you label them as x1, y1, x2, y2, you'll still come out with the same answer, but I'm just going to keep it as is for right now so that we can see a little more clearly how to fill in our formula. So we're subtracting the y's, subtracting the x's, finding those differences, and then dividing. We want to find the ratio of those. So I'm going to start with y2, which would be negative 7, minus y1, which is negative 1, divided by x2, which is negative 4, minus x1, which is negative 1 again. And remember we talked about those double negatives there, right? 2 negatives together, those are going to make a positive. So if we continue here, we have negative 7 plus 1 over negative 4 plus 1, which would be negative 6 over negative 3, which reduces all the way down to positive 2. So my slope now is a positive 2, and then I can choose either one of my points to fill in for point-slope form. So I'm going to use m equals 2, and x1, y1 is going to be negative 1, negative 1. You will get the same equation if you use negative 4, negative 7. Does not matter. So let's fill in what we have here. We're going to have y minus, and then my y1 is negative 1. It's equal to m, which is 2, times x minus, my x1 is also negative 1. So again, we see those double negatives happening, and this will happen a lot in point-slope form. So I want to change that to a positive, minus a negative, plus a positive. And now in order to simplify, if you recall, we need to distribute. So we have y plus 1 is equal to 2x plus 2. And to solve for slope-intercept form, take away the 1 from both sides so that y is all by itself. We really want y to be by itself, be isolated. So you get y equals 2x plus 1. That is slope-intercept form. And then again, just like we did over here on the left, you want to be able to take that just like we did here. You want to take a slope-intercept form equation and solve it for standard form. So just like we did on the left, you want to, take our slope-intercept form equation that we've created and solve for standard form to figure out the problems on your worksheet.